Namaste. Welcome to the Cārvāka podcast. This is Kushalmehra. So, after a while, we are back with the MMA podcast. And today, before we start previewing the current pay per view that is up this weekend, which is UFC 320, Varun has a major announcement to make. So, Varun, I hand it over to you. And first of all, welcome. Kya haal hai? How are you?
All good, thanks. No, it's been a while, so I'm glad we're finally doing this again. So just a major announcement in Indian MMA, not in the UFC or anything like that. In Indian MMA. So as some of you may know, MMA is now in the Asian Games next year in Japan. So this year, in fact, in 19 days from now, it's also there in the Asian Youth Games. So
Nice.
for the first time, a team from India is being fully funded by the government. So that includes, airfare, their kits, insurance, then, of course, accommodation, and the players will also have, or the fighters will also have a daily allowance. So this is a big step forward because previously for any international tournaments, whether it's the IMAF, GAMA, whatever, fighters have to pay out of their own pocket. So a lot of fighters that don't have the means to go and compete, even if they are a national champion, if they don't have the means to compete, they didn't have the opportunity to go overseas, get that international exposure, and fight on the big stage. So this is a big step forward in Indian MMA. And, of course, going into the Asian Games next year, we'd hope for the same. So I just wanted to leave you with that. Of course, if you can, please tune in, support the athletes, watch them. They are the future. And this is the next generation that we'll see in MFN, UFC, PFL, the big organizations.
See, this is such a wonderful thing, and to see the government of India supporting this sport. Like, this sport is not very popular in India.
Mm-hmm.
Unlike what people think, it's not very popular in India. Only a few people like me who watch it regularly. And even I have not been able to watch a lot of the fights in the last 2 months is because I've been traveling so extensively. I just don't have the time to catch up with the fights. But it's really heartening that the government is, the biggest thing is now, see, once somebody knows that, hey, my sponsorship is covered, I'm also going to get my travel and stay covered, and I'll also get a small allowance. It like, for a person, for a sportsman, it leaves that cushion, that comfort. It's like telling a cricket player, tu 10 बार zero पे out होएगा, मैं तेरे को drop नहीं करूंगा. It's like that.
No, 100%. So, and it allows the athletes to focus just on the training, because if while you're training, all you're focused on is, oh, how am I going to get money from here? How am I going to raise funds? Having to work a side job, it distracts you from the main goal, which is bringing medals for the country, winning championships for the country. Now, once that's covered, it changes. It changes a lot. Of course, this is the first time. But moving forward, if this is the case, then you'll just see a massive development in the fighters coming out of India.
No, this is amazing, and I hope this becomes. Ultimately, we have to take it to the level where we have centers of excellence, training facilities, coaching facilities, stuff like that. Which, in the case of America, it's the UFC that is privately investing in this. India is not that kind of a market. So if it's not that, then I think the sports ministry has to step in, and the sports ministry has to, create these kinds of facilities. Look, cricket doesn't need it anymore. Cricket is so loaded with money. They don't need government support. But many other sports in India are not in the privileged position that cricket is in. So I think, these kinds of things are really, really amazing.
No, and sorry, just to stay on this before we move on. What you said is entirely true. And MMA is still relatively new, right? I mean, if we talk about, it's only been around since 1993. Right now, there are, America, Russia, Brazil. We've seen champions coming out of these countries, but there's no country that's really hijacked and taken over the sport like how India has done with cricket, how the Europeans and, some of the South American countries have done with football, right? So it's still sort of up for grabs in that sense. And yeah, I don't see why India can't do the same, like basically do what they've done with cricket, with MMA. It's just investment, bringing interest from the public or getting interest from the public. And there's no reason India shouldn't be a hub. So Yeah, and eventually, once you get government funding, PIs coming through, it explodes from there.
Yep, it's great. And I wish each and every fighter the best. I hope they keep doing this all the time, and let's hope for the best. So now let's get into the upcoming fight. So let's start from the main card. Now, I think the first fight on the main card tomorrow is the middleweight fight, which is between Magomedov and Fifer. I guess that's how Joe
Yeah,
Fifer.
Joe Piper. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's it. That's it.
So talk about that fight now. Let's get into it.
Right. So Abus, do you remember the guy that got knocked out by Strickland?
Yes.
Yeah. So that's him, of course. So
Yeah.
uh, yeah, Abus, he's someone, he likes to be the hammer. Okay, he likes to be the hammer. He's going to give you a fight. He's gonna come at you. But the one thing that has historically happened, see, for example, if Strickland is knocking you out, right, that it leaves a bit of a question to you: how good your chin is. One, two, it just shows that if you meet the hammer, if you're willing to take the fight to him, he's not as imposing as if you just shell up. So we saw that with Strickland. Even when Kaio took the fight to him, he's not as effective than when he's just being a bully and blasting forward. Don't get me wrong, the guy hits hard and he is a scary individual. He's well rounded, but Joe Pyfer, this guy, I mean, if we're looking at this card, I think he's one of the underrated fighters on this card because he hits extremely hard. Like, I think there was a meme. I think it was him. He broke Ngannou's record for the hardest punch. The UFC, they had that machine where Ngannou punched, and yeah. So if I'm not wrong, he broke it. I mean, we know that machine is kind of whatever, but
Yeah, with that machine, yeah, it's how you hit it, the angle at times. It's a lot of physics involved also in it.
Correct. But again, you have to remember he's a middleweight, right? So just the fact that he's in the same ballpark as an Ngannou just shows you how hard this guy hits. If you watch his I think it was his Contender Series fight, he just stepped in slightly. The guy was stepping in, touched him with a left hook. It wasn't even like one of those vicious left hook that you throw with all your hip. He just turned into it, touched him. The guy slept, went to sleep, and you've just seen that he packs a punch, but he's also good with the grappling. Like he's more than competent with the grappling. Now the difference between the two of them is that Joe Pyfer is going to constantly come at you. He's going to constantly move forward, even if you find success against him, like Jack Hermansson did. Even when Jack Hermansson beat him, but whenever Hermansson would find success and push him back, once that exchange is over, Pyfer is coming forward. He's going to continue coming forward. And that's where I think he has the advantage. He also has age on his side. But if he moves forward and he finds that chin, look, if Strickland's knocking you out, this guy is putting you to sleep for a while. Like I can't stress how hard this guy hits.
Yeah, but didn't Alex Pereira break that record or something? That's what I remember.
Did he?
I think maybe I'm wrong.
I'm not sure, but either way, he's in that ballpark. He hits bloody hard, and I think Abus.
But his problem, Abuspian's problem is his gas tank. Like he gets tired so early.
So that's the thing. Like if you're someone that likes to push forward and hit, again, he's a bully, right? He's trying to take your head off. He's going for the finish. There's no doubt about it. So if you're like that, then you do tend to slow down.
So let's say if it goes beyond round one, is what I'm trying to say.
Oh, he's in trouble. He's in real trouble. Because Fifer doesn't slow down. He doesn't slow down as much,
So if I was Fifer, my strategy is, jab and move, jab and move, jab and move.
To be honest, I would back my power. Like I said, Abus is not as effective when someone meets him. When someone meets him, he's willing to get into that. He's willing to get into that firefight. I think Abus, knowing that Fifer hits hard, is not even going to engage. He's going to start moving backwards, and that's not where he fights well. And if Fifer catches him, he's out. Also, moving backwards is very tiring. So if you don't have the greatest gas tank, that will drain on you anyways. So predictions wise, I just have to say I don't see how Fifer doesn't finish this fight.
Yeah, I'll tell you, the next fight is actually my favorite fight on the card. Many people may not agree. I love Josh Emmett.
Oh yeah.
His right hand is the best thing that you can watch. Josh Emmett versus Yusuf Zalal. So what do you think is going to happen? Now I understand Josh has aged, so a lot of movement, your assessment of the punches, your chin, your capacity to take a hit, all those, Josh Emmett is not the Josh Emmett from 2 years ago or 3 years ago. I take those points, but I think any fight that Josh Emmett is involved in is an absolute amazing thing to watch.
Oh, he's a dog. Like he will keep coming for your head. He will try to take your head off. There's no two ways about it. Whether he's 25, whether he's 40, he knows one way, and that's to kill. That's the kill. But okay, so before we get into the fight, this is not to talk about, say anything about your age. But see, I'm 26, right? So I can't really see, like, I understand in theory that you slow down, right? This guy's 40. I'm saying, like, if you compare when you were 40 compared to 25, 26, what is that? That you be able to sort of give the viewers a better assessment of how things change.
Listen, small things happen. I'm 44 now. Your reflex actions, right? Your brain and your body don't respond the same way. So let's say when I was at my 96 kg peak weight, my reflexes were much faster. Much faster. Today I'm not that weight. I'm much lesser. But my reflexes are not the way they used to be at that time. So there is a giant difference. Your brain and your body does not coordinate. You think they are, because your brain still thinks that way. Your body just doesn't respond. And you keep pushing yourself, and you think you can do it because your brain says you can do it, because you still have a functioning brain. But so I'll give you the Virat Kohli example. Now, I think the two best examples of their peaks were like no one else, and then they just tanked. Virat Kohli and Ricky Ponting. Now, if you look at both their careers, right, they had that 6 to 8 year period of their career where they played the same way. But every single time outside the off stump, Ricky Ponting would reach a ball faster. It's that microsecond where your body and your brain are responding in sync, and you see the ball and you hit the ball faster. But once that thing went away, it's a microsecond. And Ricky would also, not understand it. And the same thing was happening with Virat. He kept on getting outside the off stump. And eventually Virat just retired from Test cricket. You can get away with it in one-day cricket. The ball doesn't move as much. The pitches are, batter friendly. So still Virat's technique today makes him the greatest one-day batsman. But in red ball cricket, he couldn't. And I just think it was age that caught up with Virat. And because his game was not suited. See, while on the other hand, now somebody might say, but Sachin, well, Sachin's game was not like that. Sachin was a technician, and there is only one Sachin Tendulkar. As much as I love Virat Kohli, there will be more Virat Kohlis. There will be only one Sachin Tendulkar. That's why Sachin is the peak alpha in this entire world. Sachin had a game which even age didn't affect. Virat's game was not like that. And most fighters, I think, what I have noticed with them, look at Adesanya. You think he doesn't know what's happening?
Great example. Yeah, no, definitely.
So Adesanya is the same. His body is not responding. His mind thinks he can do it, but his body is not responding. I think that's what happens when you age. And what the thing is that when you are in a fight game, I think you just think you're invincible, because that's a prerequisite requirement, self-belief. If you go in there thinking that that person is going to beat you to the pulp, you can't fight. You have to think you can hit that person. So you need fighters need to have people around them who tell them, okay, time to go, move on.
No, first of all, that helps a lot in terms of my prediction for the fight and analyzing it, because, like you said, it's not like your brain is processing. Adesanya, we've seen, like the last time when he faced Imavov, when he got knocked out with that overhand, I think if you watch his earlier fights, he relies a lot on head movement, his elusiveness, moving, cutting angles. And I think the same would, he lunges his head back, and he's successfully used that his whole career. Suddenly he gets tagged once, and that's it. And I think that age definitely plays a factor here in this fight with Zalal and Emmitt, because Zalal fights like that. Zalal is very disciplined on the outside. He's willing to use his jab as a range with the range, and his kicks at range. He uses that calf kick a lot, especially Emmitt, who sits down on his punches. It's open, and he can really chip away at that. The only time Zalal, I feel, will be in danger is if he overcommits. If he overcommits and steps into that punching range, then of course, Emmitt's always there. He's always ready with a punch to hurt Zalal. But if Zalal can keep his distance, stay disciplined, I just think age and his speed, his range, all of that gives him the win. And not only that, in the grappling, he is very crafty. He's got good grappling of his own. Emmitt is strong, but he's not as crafty, and he can't scramble the way Zalal can. So for me, I just think in this case it's the younger fighter getting through. If Emmitt was, say, maybe 5-6 years younger and was more of a dog in terms of rushing forward, and right now he's sort of relying on that one punch or one or two punches where he's exploding into the exchange, right? Maybe a few years ago he could have been he could have thrown more. He could have flurried in a bit more. I just don't see it. I don't see it. And if he does try to rush in with a flurry of punches, I think he'll slowly gas himself out, eat a couple of knees maybe coming in. So, this is just one of the cases where the younger guy wins. This is a good fight for Zalal. Great way to sort of rack up your wins leading into the top 10, top 5.
Yeah. I think, I don't know. I think Josh is going to lose the fight, to be very honest. I think Zalal has that extra bit of energy, that micro millis. Look, if Josh's chin holds and then he lands one, it's lights out for his opponent.
Yeah. And that's always the case. That's always something he has.
That's Josh.
Yeah. That's just the way he is, and he's very hard to put away. So I'll be very surprised if this is a finish. I think this is one of those where Zalal will just have to pick him apart on the outside, chop those legs, throw the kicks, maybe put something down the middle, especially someone like Josh Emmitt who's going to come. When you have range on someone like Josh Emmitt, he's going to rush forward. You want to stab it. He's old, so even if you throw those stabbing teep kicks, push kicks, eat away at the belly, right? Eat away at the gas tank. And maybe the finish will come once Emmitt is gassed, but again, he's a tough guy to put away. So I see this going decision, Zalal, and by being disciplined.
Yeah. Now, the most technical fight. I know you might say, how can it be technical because it involves Jiri Prochazka? But I think this is also going to be a very entertaining fight because Khalil is that, Muay Thai style, a lot of leg movement, very light on the legs and a lot of leg kicks. Jiri is all over the place, very unorthodox. So it becomes a very technical fight. So my first question to you about this fight is, do you think Khalil is going to be able to land a lot on Jiri Prochazka? Khalil needs people to be closer to him. Yiri works at a distance. There's like pushes and disappears. So do you think Khalil needs to wait for round 2 to start landing?
I think Khalil, so both of them, right, they have a common opponent in Jamal Hill. Yuri, I mean, if you see any of his fights, the guy gets hit. He gets hit pretty much every fight. I don't know how he does it. He eats the craziest punches, and it doesn't seem to. I mean, his head's bouncing up and down. It doesn't seem to bother him. He's still there, willing to trade. Now, the biggest evolution we've seen in Yuri Prochazka is his head movement, and that's talked about a lot. But that makes a huge difference in terms of his movement. We know that he's good at cutting angles and punching in from awkward angles and at different levels. But that head movement is key. That head movement is key because, Khalil, like you said, he's going to come at you. He's one of those fighters that's going to try to take you out. But now the difference between a Muay Thai, a conventional Muay Thai fighter, and someone like Yuri is that Muay Thai is more like, you're more in straight lines. You move more in straight lines, back and forth. We saw Pereira initially when he was kind of playing that game with Khalil. He was getting caught. He was getting caught himself. But as soon as you saw, I think towards the third or fourth round, as soon as Pereira found his rhythm, I mean, my God, he looked amazing. Like, he's bobbing, weaving, finding his angles, bang. And he was piecing up Khalil. That's when he found his most success. I think that sort of elusive style of really just using the head movement, awkward angles, that's the best way to beat someone like Khalil, who's just sort of back and forth. But like I said, if Khalil likes the bang, if he cracks Yuri, especially given that Yuri's had a tough last fight against Jamal, we've seen him get knocked out essentially 3 times against Pereira. I know it's on paper it's twice, but the second fight he got knocked out twice. So yeah, how's that chin? How's that chin doing? He's not any younger. So yeah, Khalil hits bloody hard. So I do think Yuri gets it done if he fights like we saw him in his last fight with the head movement, more movement. Because yeah, like I said, Pereira got Khalil done the same way. And also, like, if you see Khalil, he is technical. If he needs to be, like against Jamal Hill, he respected Jamal's power. He didn't want to engage. Yuri is gonna make you engage, whether you want to fight or not. Yuri is gonna make you fight. So you can't sort of play the same game and sort of keep your distance. So in my opinion, I think Yuri wins. But I don't know about technical. I think it'll be a crazy. I think any Yuri fight is just bloody. I think it's fight of the night for me.
Yeah. Now, Merab Dvalishvili versus Corey Sandhagen. Listen, I don't know what you think. Merab's going to walk all over him.
You think walk over?
Walk over him.
Really?
But walk over him.
But why walk over? Why do you say walk over?
Because Corey's not going to knock him out. Merab's just going to tire him out, take him down, beat him up, take him down, beat him up, take him down again, beat him up again. Walk over him. And I could be proven wrong and all of you can laugh at me.
I don't like walk over. Yeah, I mean, look, I think there's a very clear. See that division is stacked, right? So I think when we saw Merab versus Umar, it was very clear that those were the 2 best in the world. Like, it was very clear that they were very evenly matched. They're the 2 best in the world. But if you watch Sandhagen versus Umar, you can say the same thing because they were also very evenly matched. Sandhagen's scrambles against Umar, he got back up. And he found success himself. The difference between someone like Umar or just the Dagestani guys and a Merab, however, is that one, they're looking to hold you. They're looking to hold you down and keep you down. Merab doesn't care. Merab doesn't care. He'll take you down, get back up. He'll just try to take you down again. And he can do that for 5 rounds, no problem. No problem. He doesn't care if you get back up. Whereas an Umar, it will affect the way he fights. Because, after a certain point, you're trying to hold someone down, you're trying to take them down. That will eat at the gas tank. Merab, he's got an infinite gas tank, so it's just not the same. That being said, Umar was successful against Sandhagen because he was willing to play a kicking. He was willing to engage in a kicking battle. Sandhagen is very awkward in his style. He throws all sorts of moves. He loves those knees, those elbows, and he likes kicks. Umar was willing to kick him and play that kicking game with him. Whereas Merab, I just don't see. First of all, I don't see it serving him very well. Two, he's not quite like that. So the reason, I don't know, it's tough because given his performances, you'd say that Merab is just going to walk over him. I do agree. On paper and historically, you would say so. But I think just because of the weird striking, like the weird strikes that Sandhagen throws and his reach, Merab shoots in once. I don't know. Is there just one of those nasty knees coming up? Is there one of those like crazy, I don't know, crazy finishes? That's what I'm trying to. In my brain, I'm just trying to find a way for Sandhagen to win this.
Yeah. Now on to the main card. Ankalaev versus Alex Pereira. This is the third time, right?
Second.
Second time. Now, what do you think? Who won the first time? There was a bit of a controversy the first time.
So when I watched it the first time, I remember watching it live with some teammates. I think everyone in the gym, including myself, we all said Ankalaev won. It wasn't like a complete whitewash. Pereira didn't look his best, but it wasn't a complete whitewash. I think if you watch it again as well, you'll see that Pereira had his moments. He didn't really get taken down. In fact, in the fight, there was one proper takedown, and that was by Pereira. That nice Muay Thai-esque sweep/trip. So yeah, I had Ankalaev win that fight, but I don't know. I don't think that makes a difference in terms of this fight. I think that Pereira, if anything, having felt that and seeing that he can't get taken down, that serves Pereira very well in this fight.
I think Pereira is good. Ankalaev, it depends on how Ankalaev wants to fight. If he pushes him to the cage, hits him with elbows and knees, takes him down, ground and pound, tires Pereira, Ankalaev is going to finish it off like he does always. If Ankalaev gets arrogant, tries to get into a fist fight, I think Pereira is going to knock him out in the second round.
Right. So, and I think that's a fair assessment because there's one thing that people always think the wrestling is the biggest threat. It's actually the threat of the wrestling that's the biggest threat.
Yes. It's in the mind of the fighter, right? Is he coming down? See, because okay, how about this? Explain this, because when we watch it, right, and we are not fighting, you are fighting, everything is a split second. Like, I can give you the batsman's analogy. Like, it's one thing to face a ball that comes at 40 miles an hour and one thing to face a ball that comes at 90 miles an hour.
Right.
Because the response time is just next to nothing. So you're just on instinct. So when you're fighting a fighter that, charges into you, you don't know if he's going down, going up. So a lot of feinting confuses a fighter in real time. So now explain all of those and why these things are very hard to predict.
Okay, so I'll use Merab since he's on this card. I'll use him as a great example of someone who does this excellently, and then I'll bring it back to Ankalaev. So the reason Merab is so effective it's okay. Yes, he has the record for takedowns, but why he doesn't care that when his opponents get back up is because he's looking for that connection, right? So he's level changing and he's throwing overhands, he's throwing winging punches. So let's say he level changes, right? Initially, this guy's got the takedown record. He's got excellent wrestling. You have to respect it. You have to respect it, the fact that he's going to try to take you down. But when he does that, he'll make that entry, you defend it. But what Merab does very effectively is that once you've defended it and you're getting away, so off the clinch break, he starts swarming you with punches. And he comes over the top with punches. So now, right, when you're defending the next takedown, you don't know. You're trying to think, okay, am I worried about the takedown? Am I worried about these punches coming over the top? So you've got a dilemma now. And Merab is so good at switching that up. So, for example, then what he'll do is he'll threaten the takedown and then he'll punch you. He'll come over the top. He won't even shoot the takedown. He'll just threaten it, come over the top with an overhand. And then he'll just keep playing with that. He'll hit an overhand, and then once you've got your arm up and you're worried about the strikes coming, you'll again enter on the hip. So now you're broken because you don't know what to defend. Okay, and he just keeps coming at you with this. So you're not only are you tired, as you tire, your reflexes get slower and slower and slower. But this guy just keeps coming at you. You don't know if he's trying to hit you up top, at your hips, and then he does take you down. Now you have to worry about getting back up. That's why Merab is so effective. Now, in the first Ankalaev and Pereira fight, I think this played a big factor. Because Pereira, look, Ankalaev, as much as we say, he's a Dagestani, and we know that people from that side of the world are, they're very competent grapplers. In fact, some of the best, if not the best. Ankalaev is a very good striker. He can strike. The guy can strike. He's got very good hands. And, he found success with Pereira. But is that to say that he's on the same level striking-wise with Pereira? No. The reason he's able to find success is especially with the boxing-heavy style, when you usually stay a bit lower as it is, right? And you change your levels like a boxer. So now Pereira doesn't know. And he did attempt a lot of takedowns. Did he get Pereira down? No, he didn't. He took him, he controlled him on the cage, basically held him there. But Pereira still has to respect that because he's always one takedown away from getting beat up on the ground. So that's always playing on Pereira's mind. Now, Ankalaev knows this. So he's mixing it up. That's why he's able to land with the hands. And that's why he found success with the hands, because he did keep mixing it up. Now, the reason I think that's important going into this fight is because Pereira knows that if Ankalaev shoots on him, he can defend it. He can stuff the shot. It's one thing so that threat, right? That threat is often because you've never felt that person. It's one thing to see it, watching footage and reviewing the tapes, but to actually feel the guy, to gain that confidence that, okay, if he shoots on me, I can defend it. That's changes the game. So, for example, people were like, "Oh, Pereira looked very hesitant." Yes, because he didn't want to commit to his strikes. Why doesn't he want to commit to his strikes? Because he's scared that Ankalaev will either catch a leg, duck under his punches. Pereira now knows that worst comes to worst, if Ankalaev gets on his hips, he can stay up. And again, he's the only one in that fight who got a proper takedown. So he knows that if they clinch, he's more than capable of getting his own takedown. So I do think that changes a lot in this fight. I think Alex Pereira, even though he lost, will be more confident going into this one. I think he will throw a bit more caution to the wind, especially, again, he's coming in as a challenger now. He's not the champion. So he's sort of got nothing to lose in that sense. He's already lost. And if he loses this, okay, whatever, I've defended the belt multiple times, headline pay-per-views, just go up to heavyweight. So I think he's got a lot less to lose in this fight. a lot less to worry about, and weirdly enough, got more confidence going into this.
So we have 10 minutes. So I want to talk about the prelims also.
Right.
Which fight stands out to you? For me, I like the Shabazian Muniz fight.
Shabazian. Okay, well, why is that? What about Shabazian?
Because Shabazian gets tired. It's so entertaining to see him get tired.
For me, it's just I feel bad for Shabazian. I actually feel bad for the guy. You know, he sort of had a jet strapped to him. They were trying to launch him to the moon. But the poor guy, like, first, he's still very young. I think he's like, what, 26, 27. He's like my age, but he's still very young in the game. But I feel bad because they tried to launch him, but the guy's he was training with Ronda Rousey's coach, right? And we all know that, I mean, striking wise, Ronda Rousey's coach, I mean, do I have to say any more? Do you remember Ronda Rousey's striking coach?
Yeah.
Exactly. So I feel bad for him. It's one of those that you're like, okay, they really tried to launch him, and it didn't go as planned. But now he's on a 2-fight win streak. He's redeeming himself. He's sort of found his rhythm. I do hope he wins this fight. Because even, Muniz, he's been around for a while, fought the top guys, but it would be a great feather in his cap if he gets this done.
Yeah, I don't know, but what about you? Which particular fight? Like there's Santos, Jusang, Gutierrez, Basharat, and Gauthier Vines. Which one is your personal favorite?
Right. I'm just gonna pull up the card real quick. There are 2 fights there that do stand out to me. But so first of all, the one that stands out to me is Gauthier. Okay. If I'm not wrong, the guy's been training in Manchester top team, right? Which is, being in the UK, like, fighting in the UK scene, training out here. It's always exciting seeing someone from here go out to the UFC and perform. So for me, that's a personal one. But also the guy is scary. He is really scary. He's like, I don't know if you've ever seen a photo of him. See if you can find a photo of him, and you see exactly what I mean. Maybe the viewers can see.
So you're talking about Gutierrez's photo or Gauthier's photo?
Gauthier,
Ateba Gauthier, right?
Yeah.
Okay, Gauthier. Let's see. Oh yes, he's 23 years old.
Exactly. I mean, he's 23. Like, I in like Afridi was 16, but he's still a very. Just wait for the photo. Look at the guy. So, I mean, yeah, this is not a guy you want to get cracked by. This poor fellow in the photo, as he found out, because when he hits, people go to sleep. They get hurt bad, and I mean, look at that. That's a freak. So I'm personally excited for this. I do think that they've given him a fight that he's going to go on and I think, who's he fighting? Gutierrez?
Vines.
Huh?
Preston Vines.
Right. I don't know who that is, to be honest. I'll be honest. I'm not sure who that is. But I do know Gauthier is freak. And I think he has that. I think he gets the finish. And he's an exciting fighter to watch. The second fight is the Basharat fight. Just because I like the Basharats. I think that they don't have the most exciting fights. Okay, they're not the most exciting fight style. They don't have the most exciting fight style, but in terms of their skill, they're up there. So stay tuned for that, because I do think that this is one of those guys that will eventually crack the top 15 and perhaps even the top 10, top 5 if things go his way. But he's just not. Just a bit of a disclaimer: it's not like you're going to watch a brawler. He's not the most exciting guy, but he's very, very skillful. So if you're a hardcore fan, that's one to watch out for. And sorry, last one, which I can't believe he's on the early prelims, is Patchy Mix.
It is what it is, man.
But that's crazy to me. The fact that, I mean, I understand why he's, the Bellator guys that have come over haven't been lighting it up. But come on, like early prelims for Patchy Mix is a bit of it's a bit sad.
No, I understand. I think some of them have done well. Like, what is he? MVP? What is his name? The
MVP,
distance fight. MVP. He's done okay. I think Pitbull will do fine. There are some others who will do fine. But listen, the gap between Bellator, PFL, and UFC is just too much. It's just too much.
Yeah,
like, we have to face the facts. The gap is too big. And yes, there are like the top 5 in Bellator, PFL. They might be decent fighters who can compete in the UFC. But to say that the rest of the roster is comparable is just impractical. UFC is the only, it is a monopoly. I understand that, but it is the only real game.
Yeah.
That exists in the mixed martial arts scenario, and we just have to face those facts. But hey, so I'm glad we got to do this. Once again, congratulations to you and every single Indian MMA fighter, man. I'm so happy that the government has made this move. And before we wrap up, anything else that you wanted to say?
No, just as always, continue supporting the local fighters. I know we get memed a lot. Like myself, the guys that are fighting the pros, we get memed a lot. But hey, keep supporting us nonetheless. Because it's a process. No country. You look at the Georgians, the Spanish. Whatever even the Dagestanis at one point, they weren't in the game. They weren't dominating the game at all. So continue supporting us, and you know what? We will return the favor, and we will do you proud. So that's all I'll leave you with.
Awesome. All right, guys, go follow Varun. His Instagram and X handle are there in the description. Go follow him. And as far as I'm concerned, you know the deal. We have an entire MMA playlist. So I have put all the MMA videos in that MMA playlist. So if you go on the channel, you look it up, you'll have the entire discussions of the MMA playlist. We'll try to do these discussions on and off. As always, thank you very much to everyone who's tuned in live. If you have not liked this video, do like it right now. Subscribe to the channel and leave a comment in the comment section. How about this? All of you who watch MMA, leave your predictions in the comment section before the fight happens. Don't cheat. Not after the fight. And then we'll see who got it all right. So I'll see you guys next time. Until then, namaste. Take care. Bye-bye.